Hi, this is Dan Triplet, and this is just a process video to show a little bit of the work that I'm doing for my illustration 503 class for Savannah College of Art and Design. I want to show this because some of my techniques are a little bit off of the normal process that most people do. We'll start off by just showing my original concept. It's just a quick, dirty sketch down here in the corner. A lot of people seem to gravitate towards it, so kind of went with it. And that's this sketch right here. It's got a spaceship, 5 heads of the Jackson 5, some flames with the Jackson 5 kind of made out of the flames. So the first thing I do, obviously, is sketch, and then I go when I'm finalizing the sketch, I know that's where I'm going. I go into this program called Moto. So here I am in Moto. This is actually kind of something that's further in the process, but initially what I do is I basically bring my sketch in. So I bring my sketch in, I put it on a plane. In this case, this is the formal grid at the moment. But I will have like a bunch of different, if I have more than one drawing, I'll have those in here. So I bring that drawing in, and then I start building like polygonal objects that model what I'm seeing in the drawing. Of course, in this case, we're talking about the ship. These are just generic heads. There was a planet. So that's just a sphere. This is complex now, but initially it just started off as kind of just like a rough shape of flames that was flat. And then, so when I get something like this taken care of, or the heads built in a rough shape, I export it to a program called ZBrush. So ZBrush is a sculpting package, and it's a lot like sculpting and drawing mixed together. It originally was an illustration package, and then they wanted to integrate 3D into it, and then it just kind of took off, and now it is kind of the main sculpting package that Hollywood uses and video game developers use and stuff like that. So basically, I'll bring the heads in, and I'll look at a reference, and I'll start sculpting based on the reference. And so right now I kind of have these different faces for all the different characters. It's just the hair. So those are pretty much getting close to ready to be exported. As far as the sculpting of the letters goes, I can take something like a plane and kind of show the process behind that. So if I hide this floor, so this is just a plane. It's a polygon plane, and I have a move brush out. And so if I take a move brush and I just move it, you can see it's moving it. So it's got like a little hill there. And obviously you can tell this is in 3D, so I can rotate and stuff. But for us to get a nice smooth deformation, we have to have more polygons, because if I come in here with kind of my normal run-of-the-mill standard brush, turn off the polygon, and I draw on it, you can kind of see it looks really chunky and pixelated in a sense. So what we do in ZBrush has the ability to divide and handle tons of polygons. So it can, can handle about 30 million on this computer. So what I go ahead and just do is divide it. I should do that. We divide this, and keep dividing it. And so when we started off in subdivision levels, I had one subdivision level was 1,000 polys roughly, or 1,000 active points, I should say. And when I went up to 4 subdivision levels, it divides by 4 each time. So it's at 66,000. So it's exponential. But now when I draw on it, you can see it looks nice and smooth. And that's basically, kind of how I got started. Is I brought in my flame shape and took a brush, kind of like this. This is called a Damien standard brush, and let's just turn the intensity up a little bit. And I just started drawing shapes in, kind of like that, and just kind of sculpting. You can go in or out. So if I hold Alt, it'll poke out for this one. So basically, you can see now that this is displacing it off the surface. So you can just get a lot of really neat things you can do with that, because you can put lights in here. You can change the angle of your lights, and just see how your object's looking from different lighting scenarios and stuff like that. So you could imagine that this is very applicable to. It's kind of like a mixture of 2D and 3D illustration at the same time. So after I get this stage done, I'll send a lower poly version of whatever I'm doing back into Modo. So the higher poly versions don't. Some of the other programs don't handle them as well. So what I'll do is I'll take this particular head, and there's an algorithm that I can lower the polygon count so that it can be handled in the other program. I mean, I could get the high poly in here, but it wouldn't like it. So then I bring it back in here, and then you have to do some stuff like texturing. So here's an example of an object that's textured, and what I do is I take the wireframe and I lay out UVs. UVs is basically just like taking your 3D model and making it 2D. So it looks complex. Modo is really good at laying out UVs, so it's not that hard in this program. But I laid out the UVs, and then I can export this UV wireframe out as an EPS from here and bring it into Photoshop any size I want. And so in Photoshop, I bring those UVs in. Get closer. That's kind of what they look like. They're ugly, at this rate, but when you hide them. So I just go ahead and paint in Photoshop basically the shapes that I'm looking for. So it's like an integration between painting in 2D and then switching over to 3D to see how it looks. So, if I wanted to come into here and just overall change an entire color scheme, I could go ahead and just do a hue saturation and clip it just to that. And I can go ahead and just try, I don't know, let's see what orange looks like, or something in that range. And then go back to Modo, and it will instantly update. And let's turn off the wireframe so it's not getting in our way. And so I could say, oh well, yeah, I like that better, or no, I hate it, whichever one. But that's basically the process. So after that, and after I have all the components together, I will render out different passes. So I'll get like different, try different kinds of reflections and different kinds of, just visual effects within the 3D program. And then I'll go back in the 2D program and I'll layer them together. And I'll go ahead and then I'll start like playing with it and actually, doing more 2D stuff. So just it's kind of a mixture of 2D and 3D. So in the end, you could paint anything you want on it, but some of the effects that you can get from a 3D render is very, very, very tough to get, or at least in a reasonable amount of time in 2D. So, if I come over to here, this is I was playing with renders and just looking at like reflection, stuff like that. So, for example, this is like a hard reflection. You can see like all the crazy reflections it's doing. It's a little bit too much for me, but you can render that out as a separate pass and you can lower the opacity. Like I like these inside with the stars. And over here, this is actually another reflection pass, but it's a diffused, like rough reflection. So, when I can play with these different settings and see how they're and I can do stuff like an ambient occlusion pass, which is basically shows where geometry gets close to each other, it occludes the light, and so it makes it look kind of a little bit more vivid. In this case, fire wouldn't have that going on with it, so probably won't use that in the end. But that's basically, the reason why playing in 3D is pretty nice, and it's also nice because you can recompose your shots very quickly and easily. So anyway, I just wanted to show the process of what I do and how it relates to illustration so that it's just understood. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you.